You're off the phone. I don't know what you can do. Oh, okay. Okay.
Hello.
You may want to pause the recording for a second to get going.
Can anybody hear me?
I can't pause it. You have to pause it on your end.
Carol, you're muted.
I heard her. Hello.
Are you the host? My button won't do anything to pause the fire.
Trevor, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Janice, very, very briefly, very softly.
Yeah, you guys are like reverberating.
Yeah.
Reverberating.
I'm going to.
One
Put the decibels to, I guess,
I hear a big echo.
I feel it.
volume. Let me see if it's my volume. I think, Reggie, can you not? I think the both of us. Yeah. How's that? Better?
It's a little better.
Now you need to tell on mute.
Okay. How's that?
You need to send me a webinar invitation.
I did in an email. You have
That
it
was
in
a
an
regular
email.
meeting.
Yeah, got it in.
Janice, are you still getting a hollow echoing sound?
Not from you at all, but from Cheryl I was.
You sound good.
Maybe it's the owl that the problem is,
Yeah, the owl's hooting too much.
because your audio is not understood.
Like I said, that is a meeting attendee invitation. It wasn't on.
So I can send it to you and then it's not working. I'm sorry, right? Oh, here you are. This is this. So, where are we going next? Go to panelists. What is that?
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Now you have to make me a host.
Well, I'll be the host.
Then, video. Now we need to get
Where's Jim?
You have your mute.
Oh, I don't know what this.
That works.
Our audio is not usable. We can't understand it. It's just echoing.
Yeah, same here. Just like a repeat, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
How's that?
That
That
was
sounds,
okay.
There we go. Testing one.
okay, now we're
There's
getting
a
a beep,
background
beep,
noise.
beep.
There's a background beep.
Try one more time.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
You sounded fine, Raj.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but then you lose the video when you
Sound
talk.
going. Try muting everybody. Muting everybody.
Does that make?
Testing. I think we're coming through your computer.
One more time. Can you give me
You're
your
mute there. Okay. All right. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, remember, you're gonna get this owl app here too. You do that. We'll have to do some practicing that.
It keeps. Going in. Then it echoes.
So can you hear this better volume here now? Yes.
It's low. What does anybody else think, Penny and Ed?
I can hear you fine.
I can hear you fine right there, but when Reg speaks, it's a lot lower.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that better? Is that better? Is that better?
No, that was way worse. You're starting to,
Echo again.
yeah, lock. And
Cheryl,
it
you're on the
repeats it by itself 5 times.
Yeah. How's that? How's that?
Better.
You were still getting that echo. How's that?
I don't know if it's affecting it, but Cheryl's on the screen twice.
Well, we had it working briefly, and then we go. So we're gonna turn the recording off again. Down. Okay, this is the Needham Housing Authority Board of Commissioners at their annual, not their annual meeting, their regular monthly meeting, getting started a little late at 5:42. And I'm going to start by calling the roll. Reg Foster is here.
Jim Flanagan is here.
Ed Scheidler here.
Penny Kirk here.
Janice Bennett is here.
And we have a quorum and everybody's here. I'm first going to apologize. Well, first I'm going to say that this meeting was duly posted at the town clerk's office on June 14th, 2024. And we have a quorum. We're meeting virtually, but we've had terrible tech support problems for our first 45 minutes here. And so I apologize to everybody for the delay, and we will redouble our efforts to eliminate all the bugs and practice more sessions before we try to have our next meeting. So sorry about that. I have no special announcements from the chair, so we're ready for resident comments or input? Does anybody have some comments and input for the Board of Commissioners? I am recording, yes. And if you're virtually there, please raise your hand if you want to be called upon in the attendee. Any comments from anybody? Yes, go ahead, Ross. Which you raised your hand at the same time, so what a gentleman.
I know.
Go ahead.
When you take the person farther away.
And I think we'll all have to speak up because of the air conditioning. Yeah.
Carol Bruce, from draft board and I'm the president of Cleveland Way. And I did read the agenda, the site on my phone, so I got an idea of the agenda, but I'm going to reiterate some of it ahead of time, and the repaving between the fire lane from my apartment get building three. And of course, I just had faced with it with my new water coming in on repairing from the rain. So I gathered, I sent the executive director, Cheryl, email, because I'm really jumping in the middle. I was aware of it. On timing, and I gather, but on my phone, I gather you're gonna have a schematic up, which is appropriate, because the residents always get, for good reason, upset if there is time when my idea, just a personal idea, was virtual notification to be directly affected apartments and alternate, I'm repeating probably, alternate parking, you know, really laid out for people to go. And by timely manner, they're gonna be like in my living room. So I want to know if it's a little relevant. So you don't have to live my life for it. I'm just saying that's important. And I don't know how you're gonna do the schematic thing to the contract. I know this is probably working. Gonna talk to the direct, the affected residents, right? So we got more of the school. And the reason I'm on, and I talked to the residents, I don't think it's so good that when it runs the fire lane a lot.
Fire lane, I heard fire lane.
No, go ahead, keep going.
Okay.
I mean, if you're finished, no, and if you're finished, you can ask Cheryl, our executive director, to address your concern.
Yeah, and if you get the email, did I send, or did I love that up?
I did not get the email that you sent me about paving, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Yes, okay. No, Carol, I'm sorry, I did not get that email.
Well,
She said she's concerned, that.
But
Yeah.
I heard that part, that you're concerned about the paving. And Jessica Reese and I and Greg, we've met with the contractor for the paving project in May. The project is not actually going to start until July 8th.
right,
But we will make sure that we send out a lot of information about when it will start, what's gonna happen, the scope of work, all of that.
and you probably have addressed this, but I didn't know if the contractor reproduced the schematic or any printed info. Here with the.
There are drawings on what the work will be, what the work will entail, and we can get copies of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the president's getting the list without the,
Yeah,
so that's important.
yeah.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
coordinate with Jessica, you know, making sure that everyone has everything that they need about the project, what's gonna happen. It should go pretty quickly, the contract
Really,
will tell us.
just have any idea, and then I'll
Yeah, it should go between, about between 4 and 6 weeks. It's gonna be a quick turnaround. But it will start, July 8th is the plan.
Right,
Yeah. And so we'll send out information, definitely we'll send out notices as we always do about what's happening and when it will happen.
I think there's one question you had that, everybody would be interested in, which is there any need for her to move out temporarily?
I can't say right now, yeah, I can't
no,
say that, yeah. As we get closer to the project and the scope of work actually begins, we'll know better, Most likely you won't use your back patio because that work will be done on that driveway and you'll go out the front door. But we'll let you know all of that,
yeah, I realize
Well
that
communicated,
somewhat my own personal choice, but,
yeah,
Hey, she wants to move out.
yeah. So we'll keep you updated, Carol,
yeah.
definitely,
but
and you're
it's
on the
just
rabbit board.
available
So-
Calls,
No, yeah,
the heat announcement came at 11 today. And I know there's other things in town, but that's kind of late for me.
yeah, the heat announcement went out early in the week. The Council on Aging gave us some good guidance about what residents can do to get some relief from the heat. And so we also posted that on our website.
Call.
I'm sorry, the robocall, what about it? I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Karen.
It was the robocall that came at 11. I'm just trying to cover all the bases.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Ross, you are next, and Sue, I see you have your hand up, so we'll get you after Ross here.
First of all, it's a very nice space here, the air conditioning, the kitchen and everything. Just remind me that we don't have any community space. 164, living is shut down. I know you don't want to hear that anymore, but if that were open, you could work on 5 Chambers Street, right? It's still in community space. So that's it. But I do want to.
Could have been some other plan.
No, sorry, you're not called upon. But if you want to speak, obviously, yeah, this is not a debate here, so go ahead.
I'll praise the maintenance crew, everybody's under stress and strain, everybody's doing the best they can. They salvaged the tent when it blew over, I guess it was Saturday night, Sunday morning, and they managed to install a double tent by Tuesday when we had a meeting out there, so it was good timing, a little extra effort. They also provided chairs, and it's a nice shady area, so it's worked out. The news is that we've got we had the first meeting of the Lincoln Chambers Residents Association, and the goal is to process, do the procedures and so forth as far as meeting the residents, having a forum for a membership meeting to have the review of the bylaws. So we'll do that. Probably try and meet once a month, develop special interest groups as they're needed, but the main purpose is to find ways to see. I like the language. It was something like just the purpose of an LTO is to see the benefit of working with the housing authority. Sort of like look for the benefits, find the solutions. I thought that was a good way to verbalize it. But what came out of this meeting was some more specific things other than the generalizations that the number one issue, unanimous, 100% agreement is the condition of the property inside and out. And the second issue that has unanimous interest is the preservation, remodeling, modernization, redevelopment, whatever it turns out to be. Including relocation review, but currently there have been some new kind of general topics. Generally, people are concerned about, if I can generalize, we didn't have to put out surveys cover it, but people were talking about safety and security. That learned that there was an assault in the spring. And I think having an organization like this will be able to compare notes, because I don't check the police report all the time, but a lot of people do. So that information to get around. I don't know whether that just came up, and we're not going to dwell on anything. But so there, and one of the issues regarding safety and security is cameras. Are they working? They indicate at all? Is it providing any safety and security? And also lights were not working in some cases. And I know that was an issue sometimes. And we have some solutions. If that is going to crop up as being a problem, we can continue to trench out the lines and reinstall them. Parking lot has been a perennial issue with a lot of promises about potholes, putting in lines, new curbing, and things like that. And we'd like to work on, with housing authority, come up with some solutions. What is going on with the 5 Chambers Street. There was no notice until the project had started and the room had been shut down. And only one notice has gone out about boring. Meanwhile, there's been 7 or 8 different borings going on. So there's been it could be better communication.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any comments? Okay. I'm going to call on Sue Biazizo. Sue, we should be able to hear you if you unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm mute.
We
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I want the people in the peanut gallery to hear me as well.
I think they can hear you in the apartment upstairs.
That's good. Well, that's where I am. If we're on the other side of Needham, I want them to hear me too. But anyway, Jessica could not get in, so I'm gonna just a couple general questions about the paving for Seabeds and Captain Robert Cook. Do you happen to know, Cheryl, if like one section is going to be done before another? For instance, Captain Robert Cook Drive and Seabeds Way, those little roads, are they going to be done at the same time or individually?
They're, I believe, going to start with Seabed Way first, and then they will do the Captain Robert Cook Drive Road second.
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion because up here at Seabeds, we get the mobile market and down Captain Robert Cook every Tuesday from 5 to 6. I kind of let Sandy Robinson, told her to, get in touch with you as the date gets closer, because it's the community council that has the partnership with them, just to let them know that, roads might be a little rough. And I'm also concerned because we do offer the transportation through the LIFT program, and that, maybe they should be made aware of it as well in case they've got to come and pick somebody up or drop somebody off over here. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And I'll see you on Monday.
So I just want to add that there was a kickoff meeting with the community farm representatives, Laurie, Blake, Margarita Morales, Blair Fetzer. And so they are aware that we do have a paving project coming up, but we will keep everyone in the loop as that program moves out.
Okay, I'm assuming that there will be some signs like at the top of the street, stating it's a, rough road or something like that. So I imagine that company is so used to doing this, they would think about things like that. So.
Exactly. And Jessica, you can certainly touch base with Jessica. She was at the construction meeting, and they're very good about communicating what's going to happen next. So it seems like a really good company to work with. So I think we did cover all of those bases at our construction meeting.
Okay, works for me. Thank you.
Thanks so
See you
much,
later.
Sue. Any other resident comment? Anybody online? Yes, go ahead.
I mean, in reference to the parking lots at Linden Chambers, parking areas and the sidewalks, which are in a condition, I mean, especially for seniors and handicapped people, is, as you know, in outrageously bad condition. It's dangerous. There are tenants that have fallen and they have injured themselves, which is purely the fault of the condition of the parking lot and the sidewalks, not their own physical condition. I just want to make that point clear. So I've been living here in Linden Chambers for 2 years, and I told at that time when I first moved in that not only was the money appropriated and actually in the account, that they were they were taking bids on contractors. That was 2 years ago. So what I'd like to know is what the status of that is, where the money went, what bids were taken, or, did the money have to be spent in a certain period of time? And then it had to be sent back? Because I don't understand that none of the tenants understand why for a minimum of 2 years, they've got the money, they've been taking bids from contractors, why there's been absolutely no progress. Thank you.
Do you have anything to?
Well, it's an executive office of housing and livable community project that they actually scope out from beginning to end. There was no money in the accounts. I'm not sure how that came about, but I have met Monday with our RCAT, our regional construction accounting administrative team. And unfortunately, it's just the bureaucracy of the state and how these projects get moved along. It is in the pipeline to get the work done. And my RCAT actually said to me, I've expressed it to that our residents are complaining, they complain every single day about that parking lot. And he suggested that, when I communicate with HLC, that I remind them that people are following, that it is a trip hazard, and that perhaps that would get it closer in the pipeline. But we've had a gentleman by Ben, his name is Ben Oxenberg, and he has come out to walk the site with our engineer, our civic engineer, Katie, from Allen and Major, who's doing the paving here. They both walked the site, Linden Chambers and Linden and Chambers. The project was initially scheduled for Linden. So I have advertised or advocated that the project be rescoped for Chambers because Linden is coming down. And so it doesn't make sense to do whatever work that needs to be done there, done. It was a completion of an original paving project at Linden Street. And they earmarked money to complete that work and to do some sidewalk work. But as I said, I've advocated that they not do that project and reallocate that money to the Chambers Street project. And it's great the way the HLC does the project. They set it all up in this module called Cap Hub, and they list everybody that's involved in the project. But it takes a long time, unfortunately. So last year we walked the site. This year we're still advocating for them to move that money, that paving dollars from Linden to Chambers. So what we did this year, when I met with my RCAT, and he's the gentleman that sits down with me and talks about all of the capital projects that need to be done for Linden, Chambers, and our Matthews house. And he said that we'll just put this in as a new project to start it for next year. There's going to be a more in-depth report on this at the July board meeting on the capital project for the state program. But that is a priority. So we're putting that in. It's frustrating to me because I'm fielding calls from residents about the conditions of the parking lot, but I'm also at the mercy of the state and the process that they engage in moving these projects forward. So, once, your LTO is up and running, we'll probably be meeting more on this, and you'll have more in-depth information in real time about what's going on with these kinds of projects. But it's just, it's a bureaucratic process.
So by starting over or by transferring the money that you hope to do and starting new projects.
Reallocate the money.
Reallocate.
Yeah.
Does that mean it has to start from the beginning and would take more time, or that's not necessarily the case?
Well, the architect, the civic engineer has been out, and she knows what the conditions are of land interest. So she's ready to scope out that work. So that's a big piece of getting the project started and going. As my architect said, we're just gonna have to bird dog that and really say to them, this is a tripping hazard, and, we had pictures of the.
But not only that, it's a driving hazard.
It is. It's
Because
really
there
bad.
are huge potholes, which are, it's actually more than potholes.
Yeah.
It's huge chunks of concrete that you cannot avoid because it's a two-way street, and so it's with no speed bumps.
Right.
And people, frequently speed.
I think you all made those points. We totally agree with you.
Made the point before, and I've never been to one of these meetings.
Right.
So I have no idea.
No,
what
just
you're
earlier,
for, but I want to make it clear what I'm bringing to
Yeah.
the table right now
Yeah.
as to what the actual conditions on the ground.
Yeah.
we,
It's a hazard to drive.
Yeah, it's
People
hard.
are swerving, trying
Excuse
to
me?
miss potholes.
excuse me, we hear you, you're right.
Just,
I want to acknowledge, I want you to hear me say, we know you're right. And it should have been fixed years ago. It's not, the reason it's in such bad condition now is it should have been fixed years ago, and we'll do our best.
The process, the bureaucratic process of getting it going, but,
Anyway,
that they put speed bumps, or at least consider putting in a couple of speed bumps, especially on the curb, when they ever have them.
I'm sorry, but this is, I think we can take that as a request, absolutely. But this is not the venue to do that. We've got to even get the money moved in the first place, so we can even consider doing things like that, so. And we're having troubles, by the way, with all of our projects with this capped up. It's not just this project here.
it's
So-
very bureaucratic.
Is there any other resident input? Because we got started late. I think we want to try to get everybody to dinner at a reasonable time here. I don't see any, so we'll move to our next meeting here. And next meeting, I wish, next to agenda item, which is the review and approval of the bill check warrant that we have in our packet tonight. First is the NHA bill schedule and check warrant for $570,879. And that's a very big number, 27 cents. Yeah, so we don't want to miss the 27 cents. Do I have a motion to approve this warrant?
I so move.
Moved by Janice, second from Penny. Any questions on any of the expenditures that we're approving tonight? Yes, Penny.
Page 6, I'm wondering about the $650 expense to Hazel's Bakery.
That is for prisoners that come out and do work for us, the Norfolk County prisoners. So we can't pay them, but we buy lunch. And that was for the week. They were here all week doing
The squad, right?
a
The
squad of
crew, yeah.
folks. And they did some we have a whole bunch of the basic weeds in the back, Captain Robert Drive. They were working in the heat, doing a lot of work, but again, we can't pay them, so we buy them lunch.
Okay, and page 28, I just wonder, there are a bunch of invoices, they all say legal, general matters. I don't understand what all that expense, it's a $10,000 expense total. Page 28.
So remember that these get split pro rata amongst all the different buckets of funding that we get. That's why there's so many line items. But it's probably one general matters invoice, I would guess.
Those were some overdue invoices that Moving Joy Brown had brought to our attention that had not been paid. Unfortunately, as you can see from the dates, 2023, 2024 invoices. And we just wanted to make sure, they got paid. But as Red says, it does get, distributed among the different programs.
Yeah, there, if you look at the dates, there are 4 invoices that each one gets split 4 ways. Each one of our different funding sources.
Celine's very good about doing that.
You know, so, any other questions on the warrant? Hearing none, I have to call the roll. It's a virtual meeting. Reg Foster votes yes.
Jim Flanagan votes yes.
Ed Scheidler votes yes.
Penny Kirk votes yes.
Janice Bennett votes yes.
We move to the High Rock Homes LLC bill schedule and check warrant for 49,003 and 00 cents. And do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Moved by, I think, here by Jim and seconded by Janice. Any questions on that warrant? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Reg Foster votes yes.
Jim Flanagan votes yes.
Ed Scheidler votes yes.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes yes.
That passes unanimously. Now we're at agenda item B, review and approval of the board minutes for our May 9th regular board meeting and our annual meeting. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Second,
I so moved.
Moved and seconded by Jim and Janice. And any corrections to those minutes at all? No? Okay, I will call the roll for approval. Reg Foster votes yes.
Jim Flanagan votes yes.
Ed Scheidler votes yes.
Penny Kirk votes yes.
Janice Bennett votes yes.
Super. And now we're off to the executive director's report. And I wanted to just actually start, even though I'm not the executive director, by saying Cheryl is still working double time on so many things going on. And I wanted to say that a few minutes ago, you know, about getting the seabed and Cook paving project going. I know we've fallen short on Linden and Chambers, but it's taken years for this project to get going into, and no other executive director before Cheryl has actually pulled this thing off to the point where residents are worried about, you know, do they have to, you know, be concerned about moving on. So I just want to thank you, Cheryl, because that's a Herculean effort, you know, because maybe the federal bureaucracy isn't as bad as the state bureaucracy, but it's still pretty amazing, you know. And I don't think anybody sees the sausage being made in the Cheryl Osmond sausage factory here that try to get these projects off the ground. So I thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I just jump on that bandwagon for a minute, Reg?
Yes.
I would also like to thank Cheryl, and if any of the residents are listening, I want you to be a little bit more patient, because come down the road, Cheryl's gonna be doing fantastic things for the residents, as she's continued to do since her short tenure, so.
Thank you, Candace. So I just want to got your monthly financial statement there, and I'm just going to note a couple of things about the statement that we're working on. One of the things that we're finalizing within the next week, the escrow accounts for the FSS, Family Self-Sufficiency Program. We have residents who will be escrowing a portion of their rents as participants of that program. So we're setting that up now with the bank. I'm pretty excited about that.
Does everybody know what that means?
Family self-sufficiency.
No, I meant the escrow program. Why it's such a good deal?
I don't know that everyone knows what it means. It's an opportunity for residents who during their annual recertification process, if they have increased income, that increased portion of it can go into an escrow account. And that it's really a savings. It's
The rent associated caused by the increase income, is that right?
the rent, not the rent, but the increase.
Yeah.
So if their rent was previously $50 and they got a new job, the rent increases to $200. So now they're paying 250, say, so to speak. $200 is actually being escrowed into their account. So it's the delta between
Meaning
the increase
and it's available to them later.
later. So there's a program that they participate in. It's all on our website. All of the programs that the FSS program offers, all the opportunities that are available to residents to build income, to gain employment, to reduce their reliance on government subsidies. So that's really the ultimate purpose of the program. And Elena Choi is our FSS coordinator, and she's doing a phenomenal job in bringing in programming for residents. So if you have an opportunity to look at the website, please look at the website. The program is a federal program for federal public housing residents in Section 8 voucher holders. But it's just a great opportunity for people to save money for a purpose. It could be to buy a house, buy a car, whatever their goal would be. And that's worked out with the FSS coordinator.
As long as you stick with the program,
As long as you stick with the
that's the
program.
incentive. You
We
get-
have a plan, and we have a committee, and there's a lot of work that goes into administering the program. But if the rent increases, they'll still pay the increased rent. But the piece of it that's increased goes into an escrow account.
It's still their money.
Interest bearing escrow account. Right. So that's this is the first time in the history of the agency that we've had a family self-sufficiency program.
And it takes a ton of red tape to get set up, right?
It takes a lot, but we have an excellent coordinator, Elena Choi, who's doing a fantastic job. So take a minute to look at the website and see all of the programs that she has listed on the website.
Okay, onward.
And then I just also wanted to I think that's it. I'm sorry. I'll put it up.
We're at monthly management report, which you emailed out separately from the packet.
I did.
Anything you want to call to our attention?
No, it's your standard report. I do want to say that our state programs in terms of tenant account receivables does a phenomenal job in paying the rent.
So I want to call two things to people's attention. Number one is that our vacancy rate is 10 units at the end of May, and the reporting period out of 296 units. So that means that our vacancy rate is 3.4%. And whatever anybody's been reading in last few months about other state housing authorities having 10, 15, 20% vacancy rate, that's never been us. Thank you again to our Cheryl and the staff with you. And, you know, they get the apartments turned over and new worthy, eligible, needy people into them. So we're not letting any grass go under our feet. The other thing I wanted to do is note for Ed, in case Ed isn't going to bring it up right now, that the Ed Memorial monthly question has been answered in the management report here, which is we have 8 open work orders at the end of the month of May. Do you notice that?
You got that in?
You know, by sheer Sherlock Holmes law of God, Ed prevailed in getting us to all look on how these things are measured. So thank you very much, Ed. So, and that's, by the way, 10% of the work orders that we did that entire month. And that sounds about right. You know, it doesn't, you expect to have a couple of them just not make it into the reporting period and get carried over. So,
And I can tell you.
Yeah.
So one of them is a unit where we had to drill into the floor and replace piping.
oh, wonderful.
So, and then we just recently found, we had an incident where one of our units had a lightning strike and it hit the boiler.
Kidding.
Oh, wow.
So we have to buy a brand new boiler. For that particular unit.
All right.
So,
And then item number 3, state budget approval. Speaking of monumental bureaucracy, Cheryl, I think you have an announcement about our 2024 annual budget approval. Right?
Just that it has been approved by HLC, that was a lot of work to get everything, into them. Have it approved, so I don't think that there's anything else in that.
All right, number 4, performance management review. This is stateside. So, this is, if people don't know this, this is an annual process, I believe, where the state comes and inspects everything and does.
Right, and so this was put in the board packet, it's a performance management review, as Greg said, of our operations and our facilities. And Needham Housing Authority has actually scored 71% this year, which is very good.
Better than before.
Better than before. We do have some corrective actions that need to be, that are of note in the reporting of adjusted net income and operating reserves. But other than that, we've done very well and across the board. Our housing specialist, Bob Pelletier, came out to the agency to go over this report with us, and he was pleased at the work that we're doing. He made some suggestions to me to make sure the reporting is done on time, and I've assigned those items to our staff who are able to do them in a timely manner. Our maintenance staff is doing a great job with getting the work done. So it's a good report. I can certainly make this available to anyone if you want to talk about it.
And actually, our notations are not all sort of reporting administrative things, not in me, right?
It's made more administrative, not.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So getting the reports on time and stuff. So great. All right. Next is site improvements. We've already talked about the paving report. Anything further you want to add that we haven't already discussed?
No, this is just the meeting notes, the pre-construction meeting notes. Carol, I'll make sure you have a copy of this information. It also has a copy of the drawings and the work that's going to be done.
That's great.
So that's about it.
I think that I heard the request that maybe a few minutes, days before the actual project begins, maybe there'd be a resident meeting saying, okay, now we know what's going first, what's going second,
Yeah.
what's going third, and have the contractor present the plan for not only what's going to get done when, but safety is what you were really great. If I was going to put one word on it, safety and the inconvenience of the residents, how that's going to be, safety is going to be maximized and inconvenience is going to be minimized as much as possible.
Thank you.
And I think we've all had renovation projects in the past in our kitchens or houses or something. There's going to be a bit of a pain, we don't want to show hope nobody has any illusions, but I'll tell you how it's embarrassing when I have friends come over or contractors, I'm sorry, I wish we had been able to do a better job, but thank you, Cheryl, for getting it going here. So,
Yeah, thank you.
all right. Anything on the staff updates?
So the staffing update is that we have hired a federal housing manager. Her name is Tracy Hunter. She comes from a huge corporation called Wynn. And she's actually hit the ground running. She's very professional, very proficient. She started the first Monday in June. We also hired a Section 8 coordinator. Her name is Kinlan. She also comes from Wynn. They don't know each other because Wynn is such a great, big, gigantic corporation. But she's working very well. She's doing a great job. And that's it. That's my staffing update. We hired 2 people to help keep the program running smoothly.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
So how many staff does that bring you up to, and are there any other openings?
There are no openings, and I do have the number of staff that brings us up to in my report, my annual report. Off the top of my head, I wanna say it's about,
Magic.
Um, so we have, I wanna say it's about 15 people that we have as a, and specifically 13 full-time staff, 6 administrative, 4 maintenance, 3 residents coordinators, 3 resident coordinators, and a part-time after-school program coordinator.
And that's
How many
one of
ma- How many maintenance men, Cheryl?
We have 4 maintenance staff. Greg, I have 6 administrative because Greg is part of the administrative team. Eric, Eric, Will, Ryan, and Tony are part of the maintenance, team.
So 4 plus grade.
4 plus Greg.
That's why I know what it's like to operate when you're down positions. I know how much more work it is to search. So congrats on filling those and completing the searches.
Jim,
So 13 people, and 1.5 part-time after school
yes.
coordinator. And one of the resident services coordinators, I was reminded, is also not full-time, right?
That's correct, he's part-time.
But, there was a time when we had only a half-time resident services coordinator. It's not so long ago. So this is big improvement over what we had just 5 years ago here. So
It was really good to have, everyone committed and working and, did a great job, everyone wants to do a great job, we want to provide good customer service to our residents.
Ed's got it.
yes, go ahead, Ed. Thanks.
I apologize. I'm having a hard time
Yes,
understanding
Ed.
the conversation. Question. Cheryl, have you been able to hire a manager for the after-school program yet? I know you were interviewing.
Yes, so we had this interview process, we had a great candidate, she couldn't do it, we had a second candidate who couldn't, start until the 18th of June. And then we hired someone who only lasted a week, it wasn't, a good fit for her, she needed more of a challenge.
Right.
So we went back to the second candidate and offered her a position. The only thing is that she's from India and we had to wait for her to get her employment, card. And that for her started the 18th of June. So we do hope to do some programming this summer to, help her get acclimated and introduced to the kids. But she is, available in the fall, for the 16-hour week program. Her name is Ritika. I can't pronounce the last name, but her first name is Ritika. Very nice young lady, very enthusiastic.
Is that now an accomplished fact that we've hired her?
I'm still checking the references and will offer and send an offer letter to her at the end of this week. But as of the 18th, she was not able to work in the country, so.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
but, yeah. Thank you.
All right, and onward to the draft annual report of the board that was postponed from our annual meeting.
And I didn't send it electronically. I have hard copies, but we'll send out the electronic version to everyone.
So maybe what we want to do is postpone it one more month.
Okay.
And everybody can look it over and ask you questions. So you can present it a little bit and we'll go from there. So excuse me, can we have just one conversation or something? Okay, great. Okay, so any other updates?
Well, I have had in here the LTO formation, as you see here, and I've included that documentation in the packet. I have to commend Ross and Jim and Marlene for their efforts to get through a democratic process forming a local tenant organization. So congratulations on that. And as you know, per the regulations, the CMR, that you will go forward with, developing your bylaws and perhaps even naming yourself. And, also asking for recognition from the council. So I'm excited and looking forward to working with you. I know you're working on those steps and, yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Congratulations. Anything else?
That's it for that. I think that's it.
Okay, we're done with the executive director's report. Now we're on the status updates and approvals, preservation and redevelopment initiative. So the first item on the agenda is the Linden and Chambers redevelopment project RFP. And after Herculean effort, if I do say so myself, I'm, where to go? Right here. Did you take the pen? The RFP, I was gonna wave it around here. My briefcase here. I did brought it out here, so we can get shuffled around. Did you take it? Oh, here it is. Thank you very much. So, here it is. And, this is, the final draft, but this was sent to HLC for their final approval, because that's what they need to do. And they promised quick turnaround, and, when it comes to paving, that means years. Hopefully it's gonna be a little more quickly than that. But it's possible that this will be able to be issued officially next week. I want to thank Jim Flanagan here, our newest commissioner, because I did ask him, as we discussed at last month's meeting, to kind of shadow me, participate in as much of the meetings as they can, just so that we had broadened the number of people who are trying to support this effort. Along with Cheryl, who always has way too much to do on just a day-to-day basis here. And he's read both the rough draft, 2 or 3 editions ago, and this final draft. And I think he joined me, and you speak for yourself, in saying, I think we have a pretty decent RFP to go out.
I will add, Mr. Chair, that reading is a lot easier than writing. And your work on it and organization was just exemplary in the hours that you put into it. Thank you. It's a complex endeavor to tell a story, an exciting story of the progress we've made to date. But to pack that, tell the story in a way that is easy for people to consume, respond to quickly, but then still be able to access the level of detail they need. So kudos to you and thank you.
And what happens is, let's just say for the sake of argument, it gets posted on Monday next week in the official register of the state of Massachusetts, where all public RFPs and bids and everything gets posted. It's called ComBuys in capital letters, as in Commonwealth, buys. And that would be the official publication. There's, notice and so forth. There is a technical requirement for noticing it in the local Needham newspaper, all of which have disappeared except the Hometown Shopper Weekly, which, people may have noticed, it has all the town of Needham legal advertisements in and so forth. And I'm not sure anybody who would ever respond to this RFP would read it in that legal notice, but we do have to spend several $100,000 posting it there. So the real place will be ComBuys, and you don't need to go find that, because it'll also be posted on our website in the section that has bids and RFPs and so forth in there. And so any resident starting, the date of it becomes official, will be able to download a copy for themselves.
And I encourage, it's a very informative document.
Right. And, you know, the report of what, we've been up to for this board meeting is basically the read of this, how many pages it turned out to be here? 64 pages here, of our, it tells the whole story. So thank you, Jim, and everybody else that participated, Carol and so forth. The other thing to report about Linden and Chambers is not much is happening relative to the previous months, in that the project is mostly on pause. This is the design portion of the project, while we go through this RFP process to select the developer. And that selection, you know, hopefully if we stay on schedule, will be completed by the end of the summer. Takes a certain amount of elapsed time for that to happen. And then we will be looking forward to the next big milestone that we have to achieve, which is to go before the Needham Planning Board for a site plan review, a formal. Now, this is, you know, a lot of it's the same as what we've already been doing for the last year, but what we've been doing for the last year isn't their formal approval of the site plan. It was more oriented towards getting the zoning needed to build the project and getting the town to agree to give us $5.5 million of CPA funding to build the project. And that all happened at the last town meeting, just before we had our May meeting already reported on. So those are the two things that are going on this summer, is the process of receiving proposals, bids from hopefully many very highly qualified developers, and then sorting through them with the evaluation committee that we've talked about before. And then the evaluation committee will make a recommendation to the board, the full board, at the end of the summer, probably the last week of August or in early September. And the board will make the final decision based on the evaluation report. Any questions from any commissioners about that?
Yes, I have my hand up.
Go ahead.
Going back to the RFPs. I have a couple of questions on it. How many proposals are we going to accept? Are we gonna have a committee? And where is the cutoff?
So, what we discussed a meeting or two ago, I will get to in a second about the committee, but we hope we'll have like 3 or more proposals. We don't, rather than just 1 or 2 to pick between. But we certainly don't want 10 proposals, because there's a lot of work to sort through them. But we won't know what we get until the, you know, the date comes for the delivery of the proposals. The couple of meetings ago, I passed around a list of candidates for the evaluation committee. We all took a look at it, the board members, and kind of circled and indicated, you know, that people that they would sort of be. I think everybody agreed. Everybody on that list of candidates who qualified would be a great evaluation committee member. But you know, being August when this takes place, you know, people will be on vacation. We're not quite sure who's available. So one of the tasks will be done this summer, you know, next week after we get the RFP out, is to contact those people using the preferences that the board members all indicated, and then see if you can put together a committee of 7 is what we decided. And the committee 7 will have Cheryl on it as the executive director, and we'll have a resident of Linden Chambers, and then 5 citizens, voters of the town of Needham who have various qualifications, such as having a legal background or an architecting background, or other backgrounds that, would help make the selection, and also, some sort of proven commitment to public housing, not somebody, somebody's been around being a supporter of this, what we're trying to do for some time, so. Does that answer your question there, Candace?
So no board members will be on that committee.
Probably not, although what I did learn is part of the writing the proposal, the RFP, is that there could be a board member on, or even 2 board members on the committee, not 3, because that would constitute a quorum.
Yeah, that'll be a quorum, and that's a no.
But, so there is it's a good question you asked. It's funny, I was gonna mention and forgot to, but, it turns out that the Chapter 30B competitive procurement guidelines that apply to this particular one does permit, let's say, to have a board member on the evaluation committee. So, do you have a sense of whether that would be a good idea or not, Janice?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines as a resident, not board member, but, and you did just mention a resident, right?
There's definitely a resident, yes.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to have a board member on there, just for the fact that, they're a lot more familiar with policy.
Yeah.
But I'm not recommending it be me.
Okay, are there any other comments or thoughts on other board members on this? We don't have to decide tonight, because once we pick, I gotta do the vacationitis thing, and then what I will be doing probably at the next board meeting is here's a slate of 7 that are gonna be available in the time period, the August time period. And so we can approve that slate of 7. So, but any other comments? Jim, you have
Just
a thought one way or the other? Kenny, Ed?
Well, I think as Janice just described it, she nominated herself, whether she wanted to or not.
No, I did not.
See, I think it was.
I was gonna nominate you, Ed.
I think you recommended the idea, but did not volunteer to serve.
Yeah,
So-
I would like.
No,
a
so
board
we
member to
don't
be
have,
on
we're not
there.
gonna decide it tonight, but just the general notion, I want to get a feel of the board. Jim has no opinion. Ed, I think it's a good idea. Ed, Penny, no comment at this point.
We're going to have a board member.
Yeah.
I think that Jim's area of expertise and exposure and experience better qualifies him than any of the rest of us.
Okay. Well, like I said, we'll leave it there. And seems like there's a sense it might be a good idea. So we'll see what we get to here. Okay, that's it for Linden Chambers. Any other comments or questions?
I just want to make a quick
I'm
comment.
sorry.
Oh,
We don't-
you said the word.
No, this is just for the board. If you come to me afterwards if you want here, but yeah, thanks. All right, let's go on to the next item here, which is Seabed's Preservation and Modernization Project. Another thing that Cheryl's been putting a lot of hours in is that we're got $16 million to spend budget-wise on Seabed and Cook modernization. I'll just put that label on it, preservation as well. And our team has been working very diligently to actually do the design of what's going to be done, called the schematic design. So exactly what are we going to be doing for the HVAC system upgrades? Just a big here. What kind of new fire alarm systems exactly are we going to be putting in, and other, safety systems? Exactly which buildings and what design at Captain Robert Cook need to be upgraded with their walls, their siding. And 2 of the 6 buildings have already been done. There's 6 buildings there? Yeah. 2 of the 6 buildings are.
Yeah, we had them done 3 years ago. There was 2 buildings done.
Yeah, and 4 of them haven't been done. So, what do those 4 buildings need by way of you know, sheathing and insulation on the siding and, you know, all that stuff and they are going to deliver, so those, just, you know, what kind of electrical upgrades do we need in the apartments? That like, they're like, is the wiring so old right now? We know it's 40 years old. Is this the time to replace the wiring in the apartments or not? Will it last another 40 years? Is this, do we need a little bit more amperage in the apartment? Should we put 125 amp main panels in each, you know, apartment rather than 100? So 1,000 questions like that. And they are going to deliver what is called their 50% schematic design, so somewhere towards the end of next week. So it'll be half done in terms of specifying all these details. Remember, this is the detail that eventually you want to hand to a plumber or an electrician or an HVAC person or somebody and say, go do this, you know, and before you do that, you put it out for bid for doing all that stuff. So, and then the other big thing they're going to do, which is we're really nervous about, is they're going to do an update of the cost estimates. You know, so, 6 months ago, we did this. We had a list of priority items to do and sort of back of the envelope cost estimates because we didn't have any of this design detail. Now we're going to have a ton more design detail and an update of the cost estimate. And does this still all add up to $16 million of construction, or does it add up to $18 million, which unfortunately is the way the world has been going with inflation and so forth. So, so this is a huge, huge milestone that's coming up. And the other thing that's going on is that our Cambridge Housing Authority team has been working on funding applications to get more money to add to that $16 million. There's a lot of money for solar upgrades. There's money for going all electric. You know, we're all gas now, gas boilers and gas water heaters. Maybe we can stretch that 16 million we think we can afford by getting, you know, some of these other grants from the infrastructure bill or the Inflation Reduction Act, you know, and so forth, so that they just put one application in for, how much was it for? I think it's for several million for 2 beds and 12.
Yes.
Yeah. And, oh, and I forgot to say it, Linden and Chambers, we just submitted another application for $4.5 million from what's called the Housing Works Program that supports state reconstruction, redevelopment. By the way, that will be detailed in the RFP document that everybody will get next week. So things are moving along. Any questions on that from any of the commissioners?
Yeah, I have a question. I just want to say, 2 years ago, we flunked the federal inspection because of our electricals, that we don't have enough grounds in the kitchens by the sinks. So I believe that's probably the same up at Seabeds too. So
Probably.
I would say that the electrical will definitely have to be at least inspected and maybe I don't know how they circumvent the system, but we definitely need an upgrade there. And definitely the siding on the 4 other units. And I just want to say that nobody's really brought this up to the residents at Seabeds, and for that fact, Linden and Chambers. Once you go Section 8, you pay your own utilities. Now that's going to bring us to each and every individual in those units for their own setups. And the residents are going to have to pay their share of utilities. That has not been brought forward to them as yet. And I think it should be known to them sooner than later.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up, and you will tell everybody that we haven't coordinated what I'm about to say in response to what you're asked about. Cheryl and I had a big, no, more than one, 2 or 3 meetings talking about solar energy at Seabed and Cook. And one of the great things about the way they built these buildings, it was not on purpose, but they have great solar roofs. They're pointed in the right direction. And they're big and flat, and you can put lots of panels on them. And so the question Cheryl raised and I raised 2 or 3 weeks ago is, so just exactly what are we going to be doing on these solar roofs? And by the way, if we put solar panels up all over the place, who's going to use the juice, the electricity? You know, because the best way you can do solar panels, if anybody who follows this, is to use the juice on site. You can send it back to Eversource and run the meter backwards, but they only pay you 50 cents on the dollars to do that. In other words, electricity today in Needham costs 34 cents a kilowatt hour from Eversource, and half of that is what they call distribution charge. So if you generate electricity on site that you can't use on site, and you send it back to Eversource, you only get 16 cents per kilowatt hour for every extra, kilowatt hour you generate. So wherever you put a solar in, you want to use the juice on site. Well, there's no NHA office here to use the juice. There's nothing else. There's just residents, meters. So that we've asked the design team to figure out how we can use the solar energy on site to run your electric meters backwards. And so the answer to your question, Janice, is we don't have the story to tell because there might be a better story than we were fearing, to tell when it comes to utilities. But then that's being looked into right now. So,
Yeah, well, in rebut to your answer, Reg. My parents have had solar panels on their roofs for 20 years. It destroys your roof, and the installation of them is very important because if they're not installed right, you're looking at so many problems.
so I'm going
It's been 10 years and they're still trying to figure out the problems. Yeah.
I just want to say that I just redid my roof last summer and put 20 kilowatts of 26 kilowatts of solar panels on it, and that fired up in August. And I've had a minus electricity bill in March, April, and May so far this year. So with the summer sun firing up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Be skeptical. Definitely be skeptical, but there's, I think, a good answer that we've got a very interesting development going on right now. And by the way, this applies to Linden and Chambers Street. Let's build, if we're going to redevelop Linden Street, let's redevelop it in a way that we put solar panels on those roofs as well. And when you see the RFP next week, you'll see there's a whole section that asks the proposers to tell us what they can do in terms of getting solar energy for, going at Linden Street.
All right, another
So,
question is the
any other
schematics you
questions?
sent out,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it was last board meeting or the one before that of the 6 different variations. Has that been narrowed down yet? Or are we gonna go with one of them?
What are you asking about? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The schematics you sent out for the repositioning of seabeds in Cooks with additions, for instance, the Cooks Bridge community room area would be enhanced.
Oh,
That
no,
those
nothing has been-
schematics.
The ones were for future development, those ones.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, no, nothing, that's final, and it's gonna be put on the shelf for at least the next 10 years. That's a done deliverable. What do you, have I missed something?
No, I was asking about with that schematic that you sent out. Is that what we're still looking at, or has it been narrowed?
I'm not sure that, I'm having a tough time following it.
The schematic pages that you sent out
I'm
about,
sorry, you're breaking up. Yeah, you're breaking up there, Janet.
okay,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I have it right here.
What's the question?
Can you see?
Yes.
This
Yeah.
schematic that
What-
I'm talking about, is
Yeah.
that what we're gonna be working off still, or has it been narrowed?
No, we're not, that's just the future plan for the year 2035.
You're kidding me.
No. No, so it's the reason we did this is so we didn't build anything or do anything today that would, get in the way of future development in 5 or 10 years from now.
Well, that seems like a waste of time,
Well,
because we want to see what we're gonna be looking at now, for the
No.
residents.
that's the 50% thing that I told you, I reported on 10 minutes ago. The
Yeah.
50% schematic design is going to be delivered at the end of next week, and we'll have a much better idea of what we're going to be doing today and next year.
Okay, so it's been narrowed down. That's all I
Yes.
needed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it wasn't that plan that you held up. That's pie in the sky in the future here.
yeah, because there was a lot of different things to pick from out of those schematics, and
Yeah.
it's very hard to do for, like one person,
It's-
and I
it's
haven't
not-
heard much on it.
It's not going to be any of the commissioners, even this young Turk over here on the left. I suspect is going to have a successor and a successor executive director.
Yeah,
And-
well, he'll be able to make that decision, because we probably won't be around.
Yeah, so, all right, I'm gonna move on to, the next item, is section 22 repositioning application. So that's been coming along nicely. I wanted to, we did have this urgent deadline that we thought we had to get it in by July 1st, but cut back off of that urgent deadline. We've had another 5-year plan public hearing update meeting with the residents. To kind of let them know of our change to pivot to section 22 repositioning. Didn't get any, much new comment on the seabed side of the public hearing, and nobody came on the, Captain Robert Cook second one we did here. And I asked everybody to set aside and put a hold in your calendars for a potential board meeting on the 25th of which is next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And I'm now calling that off. You can take the hold off of your calendar because we don't need the board meeting then. That was a sort of a hurry up timing of things. And there is that will be rescheduled for, if we can all make it, July 9th at 10 a.m. So if you could move your hold to July 9th at 10 a.m., it'll be a virtual meeting. And the purpose of this special board meeting will be to receive, the presentation and report from Cambridge Housing Authority on, reminding us one more time why we're going to section 22 and getting a board vote to approve that submission of that. And again, to just refresh everybody's memories, this is the streamlined voluntary conversion, meaning that it can be completed by the end of the year, early next year. And once we move over to the Section 8 program, that's what it means, repositioning the Section 8 program, you'll be getting $1.5 million more of subsidy per year than we are getting today. And this is for not just seabeds and Cook, but also the High Rock States units, the 60 units there. And this is the cash flow that is funding our ability to do two things. Funding our ability to do the $16 million of the modernization here at Seabed and Cook. And it's funding the ability to loan some money to the Linden and Chambers project, about $6 million or so if needed. to get that project done as well. Okay, any questions on that? All right, we had the normal CHA monthly report in our packet. Just to comment on that, you might have noticed that they said, we're not doing anything on Linden and Chambers anymore. They had to sort of fill in the blank that, Cheryl and I were going to report here. And the reason for that is they have recused themselves of all day-to-day activities with Linden and Chambers Street starting April 3rd, day after we made our decision to go out with the RFP, so that would preserve their ability to potentially submit us a proposal to be our developer partner in response to this RFP that I held up and waved here. So, so that's the only thing I wanted to call the board's attention to. And any questions about that report? Nope. Okay, see no hands up. Let's go on to internal initiatives, status update.
Okay, so we have Cook's Bridge, Cook's After School Program update, and as I mentioned earlier, I am checking references on a candidate for the Cook's After School Program, the TCAP. And she will be, she has committed to the fall program and hopefully will help us out this summer as well with some programming. Any questions on that?
I think we covered that. So.
Okay. And then unit 42, economic drive update. So the plumbing has been signed off on that unit. We have we're doing income and asset verification of a candidate on the waiting list for the 4-bedroom unit coming from Wellesley. And hopefully they'll be moving in the first week of July. So yeah, that's a really good thing. I'd like to get the board in there for a quick review of that unit. If
I would like to not only do that, but maybe have a little ribbon cutting ceremony.
for the family
Yeah.
that's moving in, or
No, before that was, I don't want to embarrass them,
Okay.
but we've tried so hard to get that unit back online.
It's a lot.
It's been such a pain. I think we should schedule a time, put a big ribbon up, get one of the really big scissors and, cut the ribbon. What do you say?
We're trying to make it.
Okay, and invite everybody, right? Yeah, so, maybe we can make a little publicity out of it here, so.
It's a beautiful unit, but everyone's done a great job in the unit.
It's our first renovated new unit.
Yes. New
Oh.
kitchen,
Okay,
All we have is
where is it located?
right here.
right here, down
Yeah.
below 42.
I was just- I'm just-
Penny has her hand up.
Yeah.
Penny, go ahead.
A quick question, that raised garden bed in the back of that number 42, it looks like it's been ignored. Is that going to be rejuvenated or eliminated or what? It's very unsightly right now.
So the guys have gotten I don't know, that machine that does that in the ground and moved it out, so it's gone. We wouldn't want the new family to have to, it may not be gardens, but I've decided that we would just let it go. So it's gone.
I have a question. Is there gonna be a cookout with the Neenah Police this year?
Yeah, we're trying to determine when that's gonna be. It's just a lot going on, and it most likely will be an end of the summer cookout, I think, but I just have so many other things that I'm working on right now. So haven't confirmed that yet.
Okay,
All right, so unit 42 will be our first of the 76 units with 75 more to go here. Okay, hopefully not as hard, but
It's a beautiful unit, and I.
roofing at High Rock Estates.
Isn't that hard to say? So we do have a contractor in place, they are JJS Universal. They are very enthusiastic. We're off to a good start. We may have a change order to bring to the board already. And that is the shed. So the roofs were part of the contract, the bid, but not the shed roofs. And so the contractor would like to replace the shed roofs, which is a good idea to do, I think. So the architect and I and the contractor are mulling that around now, but most likely we will bring that forward to the board for a vote. It looks like it's gonna be an additional $26,000 for the roofs, for the shed roofs at High Rock.
Are the sheds in pretty good shape or not so good?
The sheds are in pretty good shape. It's the roofs that, the roofs are so poorly.
Well, there's a lot of
Same issue
stuff
here.
that fall, if you're under trees,
Yeah.
I know that, stuff falls on them and, they get dinged and, you get a storm and branches will, sideswipe them and, they get a lot of, in that kind of an area.
But we're up to a good start with them. I got all their OSHA cards, all their information. They're very responsive and I think the job is gonna go along pretty quickly, and I like the fact that they want to do those roofs, with sheds.
Yeah. Good all done.
Yeah, so to make, these nice new roofs and the nice new shed roofs, so, and we have contingency money set aside for that, so, so far so good with those.
All right, we're now at new business, and you have some informational items you wanna, in the packet, you wanna call anybody, think any of them, or?
No, just for information items, a mobile flyer, we can touch base on, earlier about the mobile market coming to the neighborhood. So that information is just about their activities. Introduction to Mass Higher Career Centers flyer, that's part of, Elena Choi, our FSS coordinator, and the work that she does with that program. Legal Women Voters flyer is an opportunity for the league to help residents who need to vote by ballot. So they'll come to the community rooms to facilitate that process for residents for the primary and for the November election.
I think we're at the end of the agenda, and not if anybody has any other questions. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And moved by Jim, seconded by Dennis. Call the roll last time. Reg Foster votes aye.
Jim Flanagan votes aye.
Scheidler votes aye.
Penny Kirk votes aye.
Janice Bennett votes aye.
And
Thanks,
Lily,
everybody. Have a nice evening.
Question, I have checks, can I drop them off to you guys?